It's that time of year again, in July. Do you know what that means? That means the start of training camp for all 32 NFL teams, and they will all be locked in, ready to go by the end of this week as we prepare for the 2018 season. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. So with that said, every day this week I will be giving you a preview of every division in the league and my predictions of what I think will be the outcome and what will happen. And today, we're going to get started with my favorite division. As you can see in the background, the five-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers, which is my favorite team. So I'll try not to be biased, but absolutely realistic. So if anybody wants to doubt that, they can do that. But I'm not being biased. So today, we're going to start with the AFC North. With that said, let's get started. My number one team that will finish first in the AFC North division winners will be the Pittsburgh Steelers, finishing at 12-4. Not to be biased, but they have the best arsenal weapons in the league. The only team next to them I think that compete with them is the Rams with Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and also Brandon Cooks. And they also have some good young tight ends as well with the great offensive line too as well. But with that said, the Pittsburgh Steelers have Ben Roethlisberger, a two-time Super Bowl champion, the best running back in the game, number 26, Le'Veon Bell. And we also have the best wide receiver in the game, and shout out to him, Antonio Brown, for making the cover of Madden 19, by the way, too, as well. Also have a great offensive line. Everybody's in their prime. It's time to make that push. It is time. The Super Bowl window is closing. They didn't do good last year when they played the Patriots, and when they play big teams, they seem to shut down and get out of sorts and get out of whack. The problem with the Steelers is they get a little emotional at times when it comes, and you can tell they get out of whack and out of their schemes. But with that said, Mike Tomlin can do a better job. I trust him, and I know he can do it. Also, we have this Le'Veon Bell contract situation with the Pittsburgh Steelers and them negotiating and not coming to terms. With this possibly being his last year in the Steel City, who knows? Maybe he might sit out, miss games. I doubt it. He wants that check, and I would want it too if I was him. Did they make a mistake? I don't know. At the end of the day, I support the team, but I also support Le'Veon because it's a business at the end of the day. So he's betting on himself and he's gambling on himself, but I also can't be mad at the Steelers. But I think 2-6 will be toting that rock and having a great season along with the rest of the offensive line. Also, another thing I want to address about the Steelers was I'm a little concerned about the linebacker position because we all know Shazier suffered a spinal injury last year and he's still learning how to walk. And my best guess is I don't think he'll be able to play football again. Not even this year, but who knows ever. So replacing him will be Tyler Magovich. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Tyler, but I'm supporting you, man. So also we'll see if Bud Dupree does his thing, I don't know what he's going to do, but he's been coming along slowly but surely because he's been Sherlon kind of a bust in some sort. But also, we got the rookie that they drafted last year in the first round, T.J. Watt, who tied first all rookies with 7 sacks. They're moving him to the left side this year, so I expect him to get a little more pressure. They also have the young corners in Artie Burns and young secondary and Sean Davis and Terrell Edmonds that they just drafted. We also got the veteran Joe Hayden on the other corner position. I think that's the key for them to make a Super Bowl run is this steel defense. They have to be able to do what they did because last year, after Shazier got hurt, it went all downhill from there. Can the Steelers do it? I think they can. They actually got a pretty favorable schedule this year. All their tough games are at home. It's just one of those years where I think it's going to make or break for them. Because at home, all the tough games they got Kansas City, they got the tough Baltimore Ravens, you got the Atlanta Falcons, you got the Carolina Panthers, you got the Chargers, and the New England Patriots, which the Steelers somehow are struggling to beat them. But all those tough games, 6 of those games, are at home. And I think they'll win at least 4 of those 6. If not 4, at least 3. But I'm picking them first. Now let's go to second in the division. I have the Baltimore Ravens finishing at 9-7. Here's why. Joe Flacco he's 2 games over 500 since winning that Super Bowl, and he's got that big contract, and he has the highest cap hit of any player in the league. I don't know about you, but he's been underachieving. I know they've had a lot of injuries lately. The offense has been terrible. The leading rushers last year, Alex Collins. The other running back, Buck Allen, is just terrible. They drafted Brashad Breeland a few years ago back in the draft out of Central Florida. He's been nothing of a bust. So this year, they went out and drafted Hayden Hurst. They went out, signed Michael Crabtree, Willie Snead. So they're trying to give Joe Flacco some weapons because they also drafted a quarterback in the first round by the name of Lamar Jackson, a pretty big figure in college football from the University of Louisville. Look for Lamar to make a push And if Joe struggles early, I think this guy Lamar Jackson can get it done. He needs a little time to develop, but I'm trusting in Lamar. So at some point, I think they'll be handing the keys over to Lamar Jackson. He's a dual threat. He can do it all. He can run. He can pass. I see him. Just give him a little bit of time. But I do think the Baltimore Ravens will finish 9-7. Their defense is a little aging too, with Terrell Suggs and Jimmy Smith calling with that Achilles injury. But I like C.J. Mosley. I like their D-line. They always give the Steelers a tough run too as well in the division. And I also love the coach, John Harbaugh. So I think the Ravens will finish a strong second. You know, I think they'll miss the playoffs again, and it'll be a little bit of a refocusing here for them as well. Let's go down to number 3, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals. I'm picking them to finish 7-9. That is because Marvin Lewis has been the coach since 2003. What a stalemate. He has an 0-7 record in the playoffs. I don't like Andy Dalton. I don't trust him as the Red Rocket, what they call him. I do love A.J. Green, although I did have him on fantasy team, so I love him. That guy's an elite receiver, a top 5 receiver in the game, absolutely hands down. But Cincinnati just seems stale. They needed a refresh of energy, and it just doesn't seem. They seem lifeless with Marvin Lewis. I think this should be his last year, but I think he gets to leave on his own terms. It's just not good. Also, they need to give Joe Mixon more of the carries and let him be the workhorse. Giovanni Bernard is more of a scatter back, scrimmage back, catch the ball at the backfield, but give Joe Mixon a rock and let him tote that thing. Their defense, they drafted a few DNs because they drafted Sam Hubbard out of Ohio State, which I think will be a good replacement eventually for Carlos Dunlap, who I think will be leaving in the free agency because I don't think the Bengals will re-sign him in. I think Pac-Man will be good after that altercation he got into at the airport with one of the security guys, but hey, that wasn't his fault. I seen the video and I kind of laughed about it. And he was in the wrong, and that guy tested him, but was not worth it. Also, they need to see what John Ross can do. The first round pick out of Washington from last year. He didn't do too much, but we'll see. Injuries plagued the Bengals was too last year, but we'll see. I think they'll finish at a mediocre 7-9, not do too much. We'll just be the Bengals. Just there to just be there. So that's all I got for the Bengals. And at 4th, we go to the low-life Browns. Actually, I think there was a lot of promise out of that team. I mean, can it get any worse? You went 0-16 last year. Hugh Jackson is feeling a lot of pressure. Cleveland made a lot of acquisitions in this offseason, including the draft and free agency, where they finally got Josh Gordon back for a full offseason program finally. But breaking news today was the fact that he won't be at the start of training camp dealing with some health issues. Hopefully it's just that, and hopefully he'll be ready to go for the season opener. But we'll get more as time goes on about that story, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But also, the fact that Josh Gordon can go leaves a big role to fill for the new acquired Jarvis Landry from Miami. They also drafted Antonio Callaway, a talented but troubled receiver out of Florida. So see what they can do, because their problem last year was definitely offense, where they finished 32nd in the league, last in the league with 14.6 points per game. That is terrible. They got a trusted Tyrod Taylor who led the Buffalo Bills finally to a playoff spot last year, and we're seeing Buffalo did not appreciate him. They also drafted Nick Chubb. They got Duke Johnson. They got a nice backfield. We'll see what they can do. You know, they're making improvements. They're making strides. Defensively, I didn't see a problem defensively. They finished middle of the pack and 14th in total defense. They got some young, nice players with Myles Garrett, Christian Kirksey. You know, they're gonna break out. I think they're gonna do good. I think they'll be one of the most improved teams, and I'm picking them to finish 5-11. It'll be a tough division in the AFC North. You know, it's always rugged and gritty and dirty down there. You know, it gets cold up there. And we'll also see, one last thing about the Cleveland Browns, we'll see if Baker Mayfield will be able to touch the field by the end of the season, which I think he probably will. I think Tyrod is just a bridge gap because they want to see what Baker can do. No, we'll see. I think he'll do all right, but I'm trusting in Tyrod Taylor right now. So with that said, that's my predictions for the AFC North. Tomorrow I will be back with a preview and predictions of the NFC North. I'm out.